I think he asked Big Bill Brunsey. He says, Big Bill, that blues music you play, is that, you call that folk music? And Big Bill says, well, I've never heard no horses sing none of it. I told you not to mention wild folk dancing.
Well, up in the morning and it looks like rain. Round the curve come a passenger train. On the line sat old Bill Jones. A good old hole where he's trying to get home.
Trying to get home. Trying to get home.
A
Good old hobo buddy trying to get home. Now Casey Jones said before he died, 2 more trains that he wanted to ride. The fireman asked him what could that be. He said the Southern Pacific and the Santa Fe. And the Santa Fe. And the Santa Fe. Southern Pacific and the Santa Fe. Play that auto harp, dude.
You're gonna have to pay. I said I got no money, but I can pawn my shoes. Gotta go west, got the Milwaukee blues. Got the Milwaukee blues.
Got the Milwaukee blues. Gotta go west, got the Milwaukee blues. Now when Casey's wife got the news, she was sitting on the bed buckling up her shoes. Told the children to hush their crying. Got another daddy on the same line, on the same line, on the same line. Got another daddy on the same line. Play that film.
Now old Bill Jones said before he died, there are 5 more things I'd like
What's
to
that?
ride. A bicycle, tricycle, automobile, a bow-legged woman and a Ferris wheel.
And a Ferris wheel. And a Ferris wheel. A bow-legged woman and a Ferris wheel.
I'll play that harmonica. Well, way down in Georgia on a tramp, you know the road's getting muddy and the leaves getting damp. I gotta take a freight train to leave this town. And don't allow no hobos hanging around.
Hanging around.
Oh,
Hanging around.
Don't allow
The hobos hanging around.
I got the Milwaukee blues.
Got the Milwaukee blues.
I got the Milwaukee blues.
I got the Milwaukee blues.
Oh, God.
got the Milwaukee Blues. I want to sing another one here. Now Casey Jones said before he died, they're gonna fix a train so the bums could ride. To ride it all, they had to ride their rod. Trust their lives in the hands of God. In the hands of God. In the hands of God. Trust their lives in the hands of God. Let's get through another turn there.
Got the Milwaukee Blues.
Got the Milwaukee Blues.
Got the Milwaukee Blues.
I gotta go west, I got the Milwaukee Blues. I just had to sing that verse about the guys right.
That's a good old time.
Yeah. Well, you're seeing horses sing none of it here today. My name is Ralph Litwin, and I'm one of the hosts, and my co-host on the other end there is Lou Gelfond. And our special guest today is Drew Smith.
Hi there.
How you doing?
Good.
He's an auto harp player extraordinaire, in my opinion. And maybe some people don't know what an auto harp is, but you're looking at one right there. It's a fancy one, too.
Well, this is a fancy one. This is my new one. I had it about a year now. And this was made for me by a luthier in Newport, Pennsylvania, George Orthy. And this is made of spruce top and a bird's eye maple back.
Ooh-wee.
With some herringbone inlay, and the outside silhouette shape there is out of walnut.
Mm-hmm. It's got a real fancy.
And on the inside there, I designed that, and they executed it for me as a little flower, which George Orthy in his autoharps usually puts. That's like his little motif.
Uh-huh. Well, that's
and I had this done special for me out of abalone, and the mother of pearl, and some ebony inlined on the inside.
Wow.
Well, where do you change the batteries in that?
Well, I tell you don't change batteries.
There are no batteries in this? This is folk music.
But I want you to know one thing. This is an early computer.
An early computer?
It's an early computer. And the reason it's an early computer is because although it has chromatic strings, in other words, all the sharps and flats, it's these chord bars here, which are programmed, like back in 1881,
by your felts there.
by the felts. I don't know if you can see this, but the strings are damped when you press any one of these chord bars down, and the felts that damp the chord bars don't allow those strings to sound. But the strings where there's an opening, those are the strings that sound. If I'm going to press a G, if I press this, then I get an automatic chord, a G chord.
I felt like I was hearing a church organ just hit that, you know?
Right,
It has that sound.
it sort of does. But the autoharp actually was invented back in 1881, patented in the city of Philadelphia, and it took a German immigrant, Charlie Zimmerman, to come over and just take a regular zither, which was all the chromatic strings, and add these chord bars to it, and voila, that's the autoharp.
Now, around the world, this instrument's played. I know there's a fellow, George, I'm trying to think of his last name, in Nantes, France, that's a fine autoharp player.
Patrick
Couton,
yes.
and his right. George is his counterpart,
Yeah,
and then they play together.
Right.
Patrick, yeah, and
But,
he really
yeah.
plays the same way.
Actually, it's not too popular. I mean, certainly Patrick is a wonderful player, but there aren't a lot of autoharps played all over the world. Actually, more are played in America, and there's more and more good players coming with a sort of a resurgence for the instrument. And I guess one of the reasons for that are the competitions which they have, which bring a lot of the players out of the woodworks. Winfield, Kansas is the home of the International Autoharp Championship, and every year they hold a contest, and you get some really good players from all over the country that will come down to that competition.
So there are lots of different styles you can play on the autoharp, and maybe you'll give us a taste of one of them.
Sure. Well, I won the championship in 1984, and I'll play you a tune which I played as one of my 4 tunes down there. It's a Tin Pan Alley tune called Baby Rose. I'll play this in the key of A. As Baby Rose, a good old Tin Pan Alley tune.
We were up in Nyack, New York, about a couple
Yeah,
months back, playing
right.
playing a dance. I
Yeah.
was calling, and you were playing with a couple friends. So Susan Sterngold,
Susan Sterngold,
and
Mike Resnick,
Mike Resnick.
my good buddies. We've, as a matter of fact, Mike and I have traveled down to Galax, Virginia, every year for the last 14 years, and gone to the Old Fiddlers Convention down there, and had the time of our collective lives. And Susan's been coming down for quite a few years.
Right, Susan plays the clawhammer banjo, Mike's on the guitar, and you're on.
Mike's on guitar and mandolin, and
You also play some guitar too, don't you?
I play a little guitar, but hardly ever.
More of this than that.
I tell you, there is so much music that can be had out of an autoharp, and actually an autoharp is not really an all that popular instrument. You don't see them every place you go. But I just think, you know, the more you get out there and play it, and the more different types of music that you try on it, the more popular it's going to be. I mean, I've certainly seen a resurgence of a lot of players. I mean, when I start to go around to some of the festivals and do workshops, I get some people going, get them really interested in the instrument. Maybe one of the reasons is that I'm really quite enthusiastic about it, and that sort of rubs off a little bit.
Sure.
Hopefully it does.
You're a great guy in a jam session. I've been at many jam sessions at the Folk Project Festival and other places, and Drew sit in on a jam session, and that autoharp just sounds so good.
Well, one thing I'll tell you for sure is that I always know who the last person is that leaves the jam session late at night, because I hold the door for them as they go out. I'm always one of the last. I'll just go all night long if I'm having fun, which I usually do.
You were saying you were down at the before we were talking down at the Philadelphia Folk Festival, and and there was this briar pickle rag, was it?
Briar Picker Brown.
Briar Pickle.
As a matter of
Pickle
fact,
Brown.
I've just learned that tune, and I found myself at the performers' party. I play in a band, Roger Sprung, and the Progressive Bluegrassers. And so we generally are invited to play down at the Philadelphia Folk Festival every year. And they have a performers' party down there in the hotel where they put us up, and on Saturday nights. It's a great time because you start to play with all of the performers, the people who are there at the festival. And I was playing with Pete Sutherland on fiddle. He's a wonderful fiddle player. And let me play that Briar Picker Brown for you. I'm going to play this.
We should get our camera person here, Nancy Shield, to pick up a.
We need to take a little break
Pick up
here,
a
but
fiddle
we'll
and play
come
it
back
too,
to
but
this
she
tune
knows
as
the
soon as we come
Okay,
back.
very good.
We're going to take a little break for an announcement here.
Hi, I'm Lou Gelfond of Northwest Jersey. I'm a folk music enthusiast and musician, and part of the Hunterdon Folk Exchange. I'd like to tell you a bit about the Hunterdon Folk Exchange and how you can be part of it or join us. On the screen coming up is the address and phone number, area code 201-852-0591. Give us a call if you want to be part of any of the activities that we run. We have a fiddle contest around the Ides of March each year. We have boat rides and parties and all kinds of gatherings and concerts that we think you'd probably enjoy. So our address is also 166 Brunswick Pike, West Portal, New Jersey, 08802. Join us.
Okay, we're back. Now, you're going to play this tune for us, and you wanted to explain something about your finger style?
We were talking about playing Briar Picker Brown. It's a tune I've just recently learned from a Bob Carlin record. He plays it in a clawhammer, fretless banjo style, along with Tony Trishka, who's playing in a bluegrass style. They combine their two styles beautifully.
That sounds pretty wild, yeah.
And I learned the tune from that record. But let me just explain a little bit. I make my own thumb picks. I don't know if you can see that thumb pick. It's considerably longer than what you can buy in the store. And the reason for that is that I do a thumb lead, and I can actually hit the strings up where everything converges and gets tighter there. Better with the longer pick. It gets less in the way, but when the pick is longer to reach in there.
That makes sense.
So I play this tune and lots of other stuff in this thumb lead style, which I've developed.
I can see a product need for that.
Yeah.
The Drew Smith thumb pick.
Yeah, walking dangerous streets in inner cities or whatever. But this really does help me get in there and play. Briar Picker Brown. I can't think of it.
Well, it's in the key of C here.
Yeah. Okay.
Off-camera help.
One more. There you go. All right.
All right.
All right. Well, that was the thumb lead style. Of course, I wear two finger picks. I use I used to use National, but these are the Dunlop finger picks, which I like a little bit better because they have little rounded sides. And I use the .025 gauge, which is the heavy gauge finger picks.
Now, Drew, you have an instruction book that you put out. Why don't you show
Yeah.
that to us?
All righty. That's a book that I've put out after I won the championship in 1984, which is available. It's two one-hour cassettes and a 20-page workbook, which goes from how to play an autoharp and how to play an autoharp by ear, actually, learning the theory of the 1 chord, the 4 chord, and the 5 chord, actually being able to produce a diatonic melody scale. In other words, the do, re, mi scale. And I don't read music at all. I can't read a
Well,
note
you
of
and
music.
me, brother.
Yeah, and I just don't.
This guy knows how to read music.
Oh, what a shame.
I caught
That-
in those two worlds. You know, it
Could
took
that
me
be
a long
cured?
time to cure that. You know, I had to kind of become a split personality and learn how to play by ear, totally independent of reading music. And then later on, I had to just kind of. After a while, they came together and they kind of melded, you know.
Yeah.
And now you can see the chords in the music, but it took a long time until they kind of finally joined at the Y.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing is the autoharp has taught me all the theory that I actually know. I have surrounded with a key that I'm playing in. Whichever one on this row here that I press down with my index finger, that's the key I'm playing in. And that's the 1 chord. So if I take the key of G, I'll press this down, and the 4 chord,
What's that sound like?
and if I press the one above it, that's the 4 chord, and the one below it is the 5 chord, which is D. And I teach the theory that you figure out what your 1 chord and your 4 chord and your 5 chord is by using your hand. You go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you start with G, A, B, C, D. So you take 1, 4, and 5, and you know your 4 chord and your 5 chord by starting off that way. You
For all
Gee,
people
does
that
that
don't
work
know-
on the banjo and
Don't
guitar?
know
too?
what
Well, sometimes it does, if you do it right. If you're in the key of A, very simply, A, B, C, D, E. A, D, and E are the 1, 4, and 5 chord. And the 1, 4, and 5 chord will give you a scale. Now, I'll demonstrate that using only this, this, and this, which is the one. This is G, C, D. And if you do it right, backwards goes. And actually, if you learn that, and if I were to go down to D, D, E, F, G, A, D, G, and A. Now, if I go to D, the G chord is the 4th chord, and that's right above it, and the A chord is right underneath it.
Now, Drew, before we run out of time, I want you
Okay.
to play a Russian tune for us and tell us about the
Okay.
Play the tune first, though.
All right. This is a tune. Well, let me do the Finnish one.
Okay.
The Finnish one is a great tune. It's a waltz called V minor waltz. That's V minor and waltz.
Pretty.
We need to take a pause just for a minute. Pause for the cause, and we'll be right back with you. Hi, everybody. You're wondering how you can get on this show. Well, it's a secret. No, maybe Ralph will tell you.
I will tell you. You know, all you have to do is write.
Don't tell him. Oh,
We're gonna
never
give you
know.
we're gonna give you the address and the telephone number to write to. Okay? It's gonna come up on the screen. And if you're a musician of any kind, a performer, any kind of ethnic music, we'd love to have it. If you're Bahamian or Lithuanian, anything like that, we'd love to have
Just
you.
give us a call and we'll get you on the show. We'd love to have you on. Hi, welcome back to Horses Sing None of It with Drew Smith here, autoharp player extraordinaire.
Uh-huh.
I think you have a special tune for us from overseas.
Well, yeah, I've been getting together with Sasha Polanov, a world-class balalaika player, and I'll play a fast one time through a Russian tune that I learned with him, A minor. Usually that's the way we end it, with a real, an abrupt ending, with a hey.
Oh, we're going to have to end abruptly that way, too, because we're running out of time here. So let's take it out with that tune.
Okay, a Carter family tune called My Dixie Darling.
Bye to you all, and thanks to Drew Smith. We'll
Thank
see you
you.
next week.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you. Thank you. Way down below the Mason-Dixie line, there's where the honey honeysuckles are entwined. Down where the southern winds are blowing, there's where the daisy's growing. The girls up north in the gay finery, whirling around in society, singing the song of Dixie, darling, where I long to be. My Dixie, darling, listen to this song I sing, beneath the silver moon, with a banjo right in tune. My heart is ever true, I love no one but you, my Dixie, darling, my Dixie queen. Take it. I'm a-going down south to have a big time, gonna see my gal in old Caroline, gonna drink my booze I please, with all them pretty gals I long to squeeze. I'm a-singing the song of Dixie, darling, there's where I want to be going, down where the jelly roll's growing with my Dixie queen. My Dixie, darling, listen to this song I sing, beneath the silver moon, with a banjo right in tune. My heart is ever true, I love no one but you, my Dixie, darling, my Dixie queen. My Dixie, darling, listen to this song I sing, beneath the silver moon, with a banjo right in tune. My heart is ever true, I love no one but you, my Dixie, darling, my Dixie queen. All right.
All right.
Okay, it's over.
Good show.
All right.
I think we're out.
Thank you.